Hello, everyone. Welcome on ONAP SECCOM activities in London release presentation. I'm Paweł Pawlak. I'm from F5, and we prepared with Amy and overall SECCOM team some updates for you to share where we are in the London release. So brief look at the agenda for today. So I will just summarize some London global requirements and best practices as a review for you, and share some takeaways about the recent achievements, make a stop for major issues, and share what's new and what we are going to implement in the near future. If you would have any questions, don't hesitate to interrupt me. If not, there will be some Q&A session at the end of the presentation. So yeah, do whatever is comfortable for you. Okay, so let's start with the London requirements. This is brief summary of what we've been working on for a few releases already. So for the ONAP teams, it should not be something completely new. If you are not familiar with the global requirements versus best practices, I give you some short explanation. So global requirement is something that we agree as a community that should be supported by each project. And usually we have a process of doing first the proof of concept, POC. And in the next release, if it's successful, then we are trying to get the best practice. So it means that if there is a new container, for example, it should be compliant with this new requirement. And then if this global requirement is accepted by the community, next release it could move to the global requirement. So POC, best practice, and global requirement. So in fact, completion of the Python language update, it's a pretty long process we are going through. There are still just few tasks to be completed for the London release to move away from 2.7 and to use 3.8 or some newer version that is still supported by the community. So we have a relevant London release related task, which is requirement 1208. The same for Java language. We are migrating from version 8 to version 11. We had a discussion with the SDNC, and there is a requirement coming from the ODL that there should be new Java version 17 supported. So this is on horizon. We have also some plans for the new Python version support for the 3.11 in the near future. So it is not yet for the London release, but we are sharing it with the community that we will have to do the next jump to the newer version. We have a recurring process, in fact, from the very beginning of the ONAP vulnerabilities management journey about the continuation of packages upgrades for the direct dependencies. So again, we have a task that is related to London release. And yeah, there are several projects that are progressing CPS. Well done. All the work is completed, if I'm not wrong. And DCAE and DMAP work in progress. I think good example of the packages upgrades that was performed by the community, ONAP community, is a Log4j upgrade and Jackson data bind. There is also another epic that is related to continuation of CI badging score improvements for silver level led by Tony. And we have some task that is related to London release. If you would be interested in having some more details about the recommended versions, I post you here the wiki with the different versions that we identified as target or immediate target or some simply newest version that is available. And yeah, I recommend you to take a look. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to come back to us. So if we consider some, new global requirements. So we had this work that was related to standardized logging fields, and for London we have associated task. So we are considering the Java London release, and there is a significant amount of efforts and work on the retirement for unmaintained repos process. So a lot of contribution and efforts, as I said. So I share with you some, I think, relevant links and important links to know about the, how we managed to achieve this goal, because it was pretty easy for ONAP to onboard a new project, but it was not that much defined how to, if it's not needed anymore, or it's abandoned, or it's need to be stated as unmaintained, how to do it, and so on. So we had a good discussion with the PTLs, with TSC, and we did the proof of concept in con release, and yeah. So this is really important to have a process for doing the unmaintained. We have also some additional work in progress. I will mention in one of the next slides about the next steps we are doing. So yeah. If I move for the best practice field, so we have the ones for the images from integration, but it was not in progress for the last two releases. So I'm not sure if we have resources to move this from best practice to the global requirement. We have the epic for the SBOMs, right? But this is just informative for the TSC. It's not that much, it's not that much part of the process of moving from proof of concept to best practice and global requirement. But worth to mention that we have it here, and I will have a separate slide on this. And we have for the POCs, we have the one for the logs management common place for data, and also the new epic for the standardized logging fields for the Python proof of concept. So I think it is progressing slowly, but moving forward. So yeah, Bob is working on it, and yeah, I'm pretty sure. Let me make a full screen. Maybe it'll be easier for you to read this stuff. So now I'd like to share with you some recent achievements. So what is hot right now for the ONAP SECCOM? So SBOMs, we have it generated for, I think, almost all of the projects. Obviously, for unmaintained projects, we had like stretch goal, because if there is no PTL, we need to agree on who could do the modification to generate SBOM. And Mudassar, who is leading this topic, is taking a lot of efforts to share the idea across the whole LFN community. He did the presentation to LFN board and LFN TAC. There is some discussion about the community support, and it's good that ONAP and ODL, they have already the implementation of SBOMs. If I'm not wrong, maybe the format is a little bit different, but still the information is there. You can always transfer the format from the different formats. And I think there is a strong support for LFN why it required, it should be part of CI/CD pipeline. So yeah, if you would be interested in some more details, we have some wikis available created by Mudassar, and yeah, don't hesitate to reach out to SECCOM. We can give you some more takeaways, more feedback on the implementation side. Now I'd like to share with you some more info about the unmaintained project management. So we wanted to get rid of the projects that are unmaintained from the future ONAP releases, and get rid of the repos, containers as well. It would give us a reduction of the complexity for ONAP. Definitely would be more secure if we remove the code that is not maintained, and it would improve the security by removing the code and packages with vulnerabilities. If there is no PTL, unfortunately, there are no upgrades performed by those projects, and there are still some old vulnerabilities that are related to old packages there. So yeah, this is really significant work that needs to be done to improve the security of the project. And we have some candidates, projects with no PTLs or repos with no merges for the last 12 months. And it could be identified with the Jenkins APIs. And yeah, so with this, I share with you the link to the wiki that describes some additional information. We have identified, I think, 34 repos that could be potentially removed. And yeah, this is really important to do some housekeeping for the project. Is the image still used by the project, right? Or maybe it's not used, but simply somebody forgot to remove it. Maybe some other project is using this image, right? Or what is the repo associated with this particular image component and so on. So yeah, this is important to keep in mind that sometimes it can be seen as a small task, but can do significant change and difference, right? So I really encourage projects to do some cleaning from time to time. Even remove some Jenkins jobs and just free up some resources. So there are significant benefits from doing this work. Regarding logging, so we have from the architectural point of view, Byung, who is present here, is joining our sessions, is supporting SECCOM a lot. And we have this, log generation, collection, sharing, and recently we've been discussing with Justin about the application logging at node versus pod level, and I know that Ericsson team is working on it, and we have some proof of concept projects that are, working on this concept. So I don't know, maybe you would like to add something
sure.
or elaborate.
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
we're going to provide some more detail during the architecture committee presentation following this one. But briefly, we are working on the logging, the fixing the security issue, working with the NSA and Ericsson other companies. And we continue to support the current architecture, put the log collection agent in the node level with some security, the resolution. So I'll provide more detail at the next session.
Yeah. So guys, please stay tuned. Next session will bring you some more details. All right. We have this 5-year security review questionnaire, also very, very important initiative. I don't know, Tony, are you with us? I don't see Tony. So briefly, this is required by the project charter. It's focusing on the continuous improvement. We have this first project DCIE as pioneer that we went through reviewing the questions, providing comments by SECCOM, and both Tony and Vijay were very helpful here. And we have ongoing review with the next project, which is CPS. Also good exchanges, and within the next week we should deliver some comments for the answers from the project. So we expect within the next few weeks to complete the survey, the questionnaire for the CPS as well. Now I'd like to share with you some key issues that we are experiencing. So obviously the projects are short on resources, so it means that it's difficult to assign people to complete all the global requirements of best practices. So there is some poor progress on packages upgrades. So that's great that some projects they are able to complete it, or it's work in progress. But there are some projects that are not doing it at all because of no resources. We still have some projects that are running old Python Java. This is not secure, and we hope that within the London release we could finally complete this journey. Another aspect is that we have a process for getting the waiver request if there is something that needs some more time to be solved and to be compliant with the requirement. But unfortunately, those requests are recurring, and for the 2 or 3 releases we hear, yeah, we'll solve it in the next release, but it does not come, right? So this is really problematic. Another item is that unfortunately we are not running weekly scans. OEM team is very short in resources, so we can have it done on more on demand basis and not as it was in the past when we had it every week. So yeah, I'm glad we have the dashboard and we have the capability, but still we need to have support from the OEM team to run it and to have good visibility on if we are having those upgrades executed and so on, to see the progress.
It's actually by the it's actually by the integration team, not by the OM team. But
oh, I'm sorry.
But
yeah,
integration. But we are working close together. So we are at the moment checking whether at least your security scans can be also let's say done on the daily basis. I don't know how long this takes usually, these scans. Therefore, the issue is we don't know exactly if this is manageable or not. So, but I'm discussing this with Micha.
To be honest, Andreas, weekly would be enough. It really doesn't have to be daily. Just
yeah, I know, but we have then another setup for the weekly to do. So
okay,
this is then a difference in the setup. Actually.
Okay. So do whatever is good for you. For me, having it every week is sufficient. Even every 2 weeks would be good. So we would simply track the progress at the beginning of the release and then through the subsequent gates to see if we are progressing. So we could react on on time and not at the very end of the release, right? Because then it's obviously difficult to get some corrections done by the projects. Yeah.
Hey, Pavel, it's Heather here, and I realize I don't show up a lot in a lot of individual project meetings, but this recurring waiver request for more than 2 to 3 releases does concern me. What are we going to do about it? Because that's an easy thing to say, and if we, I guess, for lack of a better term, don't call someone's bluff, it will go on forever.
Yeah.
Have we ever considered just saying, if it goes more than 3 releases, you're not part of the release, to the point where, like, if it's a core functionality, and trust me, I have made some of these trade-offs at various points in my career, including at the Linux Foundation, at OPNFE when I was the executive director there. So I'm not saying anyone's done anything wrong, but just to say, let's call the bluff. If you go more than 3 releases, there are no more waivers. You're not part of the release. And if it's a core piece of functionality, allow that to get escalated into all of the memberships escalation paths. Because at the end of the day, if this is software that they're taking in-house, and if it's core functionality and not secure, the possible very dire outcomes are huge, I think, as we all know. And we keep trying to say that, like Cassandra in the Greek myths. But, you know, do you think there could be value in just taking a harder line and saying, if you don't do it, you're not part of the release? And if it harms, if it causes pain in the short term, it might prevent long-term harm.
Yeah.
And I realize it's so hard every time you come to that decision point. Trust me, I know.
Yeah,
and I have made what I think is sometimes the wrong expedient trade-off a lot of times in my career.
Yeah. So to answer your question, Heather, in fact, during the DTF physical meeting in Seattle, I shared the proposal to have like a rule that 2 waivers is like maximum, unless it's like external dependency and requires something extra, and then we would accept 3 as a maximum.
Yep.
So this was the proposal. I did not hear any complaints.
So maybe maybe it's just, let's implement that, right? Like if you're looking for permission, maybe just seize it and just say, you know what, security is too important for the global telecom network. You know,
True, but we need to be also pragmatic, you know.
You either get your shit together or it gets escalated within the member companies who might need to put more resources onto something that's a piece of functionality. So if you're looking for permission, may I say it's granted.
All right, thank you. But we need to be pragmatic.
Well, I have no right to grant permission, but sometimes I think it's good to hear it. So you always had the permission inside yourself.
Sometimes it consents some components that are used for testing, for example, right? So this is not part of the package that operator would use in their environment. So that's why
we can judgment, of course.
Yeah. So we are always trying to assess the impact, assess the risk, right, and not being like blind and 2 up to 3, and we don't care anything more, right? So but definitely this is a problem, and I think that we are reaching even bigger problem, that we are starting not getting even waivers, right? So because the project is unmaintained and there is no PTL anymore, right? So
that underscores a potentially deeper problem that we should talk about. So but I mean, I think it's fair to say, you know, your sort of proposal from Seattle makes a great deal of sense, especially applied, as you were just saying, with judgment and nuance, you know, if it's testing and things like that, or if there are external dependencies, you know. And this is the sort of thing that you can escalate through Kenny to Arpit and myself if there's a possibility that a bigger stick on the external dependencies. And let me say, the size of my stick and the impact of my stick are limited. I can't promise anything, nor can Arpit, but you know, we can bring perhaps, you know, certain things to bear if that ever comes to it. So with Sandra and Kenny, you can get us kind of swinging a stick for you.
Okay, thank you. I may have some carrots in my backpack, so maybe using some carrots is a better strategy here.
See, the thing is, I prefer carrots, but I end up using sticks.
Anyway, the purpose of this slide
I didn't mean to interrupt you or derail you. I did want to say the waiver thing I do find concerning, and I think sometimes it feels very hard to say no in an open source environment, but I think the right no's are always good for an open source project. So I just wanted to share share that.
Thank you. All right, so I shared some issues, right? We are open, we are transparent and honest, right? To share, okay, what is working, what is not working, what could be improved, right? Now I'm going to share with you some new initiatives we are working on. So I think that one of the most important ones is the signing artifacts, right? So in fact, we have SBOMs, we have images, and we should start signing them, right? So we may have some discussion whether to use LF existing tool or maybe to use the new one like SIGSTOR. But this is maybe not the most important. The most important is to start signing, right? Because then you are sure that, okay, this SBOM comes from the trusted source, or this image is trusted, and there are no potential misbehaviors that could come. And the second item is the service mesh. So this is super important from the SECCOM point of view, and thank you, Andreas, for leading it. So removing KF dependencies and getting better control over ONAP communication. So there will be a session after architecture session. I'd like to encourage you to stay with us and listen on the progress that Andreas will share. So yeah, these are the two items we wanted to share with you from the SECCOM perspective. So thank you very much. I'm open for questions if there are any.
I got one, Pavel. I think we talked about backlog grooming for prioritization.
Yes.
And I think they're going back to some of the issues you mentioned really goes back to who's making the decision on picking up backlog items for next sprint. And I think if we can improve that, we can at least catch up on the security issues. Maybe there needs to be a sprint during a year for catch up, or have certain amount of story points as part of the team's commitment to do the catch up on some of these things that you brought up.
Yeah, historically speaking, El Alto was released when we had our goal to reduce the technical debt, and it was discussed that maybe every 5 releases we should have this kind of extra release for reducing the technical debt. Yeah, maybe this is something we should discuss more within the community at the TSC level, in order to see, okay, we could increase the technical debt till like infinitively, but reducing it may bring a lot of value for the projects, for the community. I don't know if there is any golden rule on the LFN side. Yeah, maybe worth to check with other projects how they are handling it. Yeah, but you're right, Mudasar. This is something that is not covered yet.
If there isn't one golden rule for LFN, I think Heather may want to pursue that part where providing some guidance, new feature versus security vulnerability patching.
Yeah, Heather, do you have anything you would like to share right now, or maybe we could, park this point and have some further discussion offline? Oh, maybe Heather dropped.
Pavel.
Yes.
Yeah, this is David. Yeah, I just wanted to highlight the slide that you showed earlier on the work by the unmaintained projects team in developing the, both the capability to detect and monitor repositories and a process for dealing with them.
True.
It's a single slide, but that task force met for over a year and went down a lot of rabbit holes to sort all this out. So I wanted to give a shout out, particularly to Amy and her team, and then the work that they did on this, and also to Jessica from LFIT, who attended many of the meetings and gave us a lot of insight into how the tools function and so on. So it was a great team effort.
Yeah. Good Mondays. These were good Mondays to spend on addressing this this goal. And yeah, definitely we could share it with other projects under LFN umbrella, right? I don't know if it's like already covered or not, but yeah, one of the points that I think worth to share. Okay, guys, I think I reached the top of the hour. So thank you very much for your participation.
Okay. Really quickly before you end, Paolo, I want
Yes.
to say, I want to remind everyone, if you haven't already, to fill out the ops survey for LFN. We are looking forward to seeing your feedback. We really do go through the survey to make sure we're meeting the needs of the community. So please, oh, I'm dropping it here in chat. Take a few minutes and do the ops survey if you haven't. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Okay, I stop the recording.